Boom, I did it again. This is like 3 in a row. I've actually got it right. I almost started the music on time and everything. So that's all good. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. And we got first couple of viewers are here, Charles and whatnot. So that's all good. So, Steve, you've got a little bit of a different background from most of the other YouTubers that I've interviewed, all the bloggers that I've chatted with, because you're probably potentially more hardcore than all of us, because you love the hobby so much. You have a game store, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like we talked about, I mean, the game store, I don't know if it's more hardcore. One thing I learned when I got on the internet is I thought I was a pretty good war gamer, but that was against all my friends. When I got on the internet and started gaming against other guys, I just got schooled constantly in games. I was like, wow, I've never seen that done, or didn't know you could, and learned a lot. But maybe it was more on a necessity, like we talked about beforehand. When I was trying to figure out what to do about 10 years ago with the rest of my life, I figured there was 2 things I was good at: history and games.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to work on a doctorate to teach history at university level, so I opened a game store. But it is something I'm passionate about in life, and so that makes the topic. I mean, it's still a job every day, but the topic is at least fun and interesting, and it's like Christmas when we get orders in. So.
Well, that's awesome. And then with your store, do you have you got an online business as well?
I do sell in. I sell in eBay and Amazon is where I got started, because opening up your own website is really difficult. Our website now, to be honest with you, it really stinks. We're actually, what happened was I was going to grow the online presence, and I opened the store thinking, well, there was no historical gaming or anything in town here in Fargo. And I just thought, well, you know what? I'll open the store, I'll work at the store, and it'll be like a glorified warehouse, and I'll just ship stuff online. And if anyone comes in, that'll just be frosting, right?
Right.
But the first Saturday I was open, it just took off. And people, they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do this. And I had Bolt Action and Flames of War. And people are like, oh, I didn't know this, because everything around here was 40K and fantasy and stuff. And I like to play that too. I'm not bashing stuff.
Yeah.
And, and one of my ultimate loves was Hex Encounter, which I didn't even have when I first opened, because I didn't think there'd be any market in Fargo for that. And it was crazy. It just took off. There was a huge demand. And so what happened was the local store, and then running tournaments and game events and everything, that became the priority. And now we're just during COVID really starting to maximize trying to do stuff with our own website. But we've been on eBay and Amazon the whole time, because they're, you give them a big chunk, but it's a walled out marketplace, so it can help you get through,
Right. And it's a pretty big store. How big is the space, and how's it comprised?
The store is 4,000 square feet. And one of my visions for the store was I just didn't want to have a retail store. If I was going to do that, I'd do something more lucrative, right? So I wanted to be part of the gaming community and then help grow gaming. So my original store was upstairs, and it was like 1,500 square feet, basically a steel building, the upper floor of that. And when it took off, then I got this other building, and then so half the store is dedicated to game tables, and the other half is retail. So
that is awesome. And so, and even through COVID, I know the rules are a little bit different up there, but you've kind of had things relax a little bit now, I guess. Now we're kind of out of most of it. So everyone's back to gaming there. And did you have to shut the place down completely?
We restricted our hours. We did close the game tables at the very beginning when nobody knew what COVID was, and they were asking everyone to flatten the curve. So we actually closed our tables for a few months completely. And then they opened again that summer, and then everything started to ramp up again. So then we ended up shutting them down until this spring. And now we have open tables, but we're not running any official events. We're hoping to, by summer, we want to start running tournaments and things like that again. And I guess tournaments, kind of a fancy word. We call them leagues, so that every 2 weeks you get in a turn. That way people have time, So if you miss a week, you're not out. And so we're hoping to get our leagues and stuff going. We do have people starting to use the tables. I said, they can reserve them. We have half the tables that we normally have set up for distancing.
Right.
And all that stuff. And then basically they can run their own stuff and then just use the tables. Table space is always free. We don't charge for for people to come in as long as I'm not running a big event where I need them for like a tournament or something.
Right. Very cool. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so now wargaming. The whole idea here is obviously as people are joining. Hello, Patrick and Devin and Steelstone and John.
John, I am not a millionaire. I can guarantee you that. You can ask my wife. I don't even get paid right now at the store. We were happy that I started taking the loan money that I put into the store. We started taking that back about a year and a half ago, a little bit each month. So if you ask my wife, she will confirm we are not millionaires. So.
I think this is funny too. I would also set millennial traps to stop 14-year-olds from shoplifting. That's funny. All right. And then Jeff is here. All right. There. Jeff is in the house. Okay. So we got a bunch of guys, a bunch of regulars, which is good to see. So
yeah.
Trying to talk up your YouTube channel and find out who you are and why the hell you're doing what you're doing. But first things first, I'm going to put your channel out on Facebook and Big Board and or YouTube and Twitch or whatever. And so guys, go subscribe if you haven't already and give Steve a boost. But the question I wanted to ask you was the very first one, which is always important, is how'd you get into the wargaming and what was the catalyst for you to get excited about gaming?
So I got into gaming because of my love of history, and I started to enjoy history when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And we talked about this a little beforehand. I got one prop for you. I won't bore you with too many props.
No, that's okay. Show us this one. This is good though. I love this because I did something similar. I don't know. We can talk about
this. Is the American Heritage Pictorial History of the American Civil War. And if you remember those, they have a number of battles that have these maps. And if you look really close, and I got to see what it looks like when I'm, it's got like it looks like a little miniature diorama. That's Gettysburg, right?
It's like a battlefield there, right there.
Yeah. So you would read they'd have a number 1, and it was a guy who painted these. They're huge paintings that he originally painted. They got like 6 or 8 of them. And as a kid, I wouldn't read that book because it was too big, too complicated. And so I would read the captions under all the pictures, and then I'd go in the school library and get every book I could on the Civil War, and then even like the American Revolution. But the Civil War had way better art, so it kind of attracted me to it. And then what happened over time is I instead of just playing with the Green Army men you could get at our local stores, I started getting like the Matchbox and the Airfix Civil War soldiers. I ordered the old 204 Revolutionary War soldiers from the comic books. I don't remember if you remember.
I love those. I used to have those.
Yep. So I played with them forever. I had epic battles with those. And then as I got a little bit older, then I wanted to do something that was more official. Like, well, how could we use these where they could we could know who won, right?
Right.
So and then I met. I'd go to the local hobby store, and I still know that guy. He has a store still in Fargo. And he probably thought I was going to shoplift from him because I'd go in his store and I would just browse for hours and I didn't have any money, right? I was like 11, 12 years old at this time. And I basically started looking at war games. I think the first war game I ever bought, I told you it was GDW, and I'll get to that in a second, but the first one I ever bought was at a Ben Franklin store. It was the TSR Remember the Alamo mini game. You remember those where they had Vampire, Remember the Alamo?
No,
they were like the Steve Jackson micro games, right?
Oh, okay. I know the Steve Jackson micro games, but I don't know the.
They were just like that, but they were by TSR, and they had a Remember the Alamo one that I played forever, and so that was my first game I bought. Then I got hooked up with a dude at the Hobby Hut, is what it was called, and he was into Johnny Reb's Civil War miniature gaming, and he was a college student, and he'd invite me over, and we would play American Civil War battles. He had this huge table. He had all the minis. All I had to do was show up. And then after that, one day I bought GDW's Attack in the Ardennes, which is not a hex and counter game, which are my favorite. It's a point-to-point system game, kind of like the old House Divided by GDW.
Yeah.
And that was it. After I saw that you could buy these historical games with all these units and the little history. I mean, I've learned a ton of history reading the stuff they would put in these older games that would give you some bites of history, and I love it.
Right, exactly.
I love it. So that was it. After that, that would have been in like 82, 83, 84, and then after that, it was just hex and counter games, and is mostly what I got. That's my favorite. That's the store thrives mostly off of miniatures. But if I had to do one or the other, I would do hex and counter. And then I started my YouTube channel just about a couple years ago because I just thought, you know what, I just want to share my enjoyment. And with Vassal being there, I could take the games I already owned and I could play them. And I figured out, pretty easy how to record them. And and then I start running into all these guys, a lot of these guys I know on here, and have gotten to know through jumping on like your channel and Mo's channel, and just I've been having a blast. I've been enjoying the social aspect with all the people on here as much as the gaming.
Yeah, most of the guys that are actually watching now are kind of assholes, but it's okay. There's a few good guys in amongst them. We won't say who's good and who's not. But so you only started like a year ago, right?
My channel is I probably started it. So I started doing Vassal stuff and recording the log files with the plan of putting them up probably 2 years ago. So my channel is probably a little over a year old.
Okay. And you didn't start off easy either. That one of your first videos was like World at War or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did that, and I haven't finished it yet because I got frustrated because I made a mistake on one of the rules, which wasn't a big deal on the rule. It was a dice roll to see if the Axis was in supply or not. So I had to and I knew about it, and then I didn't do it because I didn't want to edit and stuff. I don't want to turn this into another job where I have to edit and cut things out. I just wanted to play, and then I was frustrated. So I do need to finish that. But yeah, I started with that, and then I was doing some war plan computer game just to kind of do something easy. And then one of my favorite series is GOSS. So I've been doing Walk Them Ryan. I've been playing that with Clay. A lot of the guys in the community know Clay Stone, and we've been playing that on Vassal, and I just record them. And then we started doing play by email, which is really clumsy with that system. And now we get together twice a month. Hey, there's Clay right there.
Yeah.
Hey,
it threw me for a sec with the steel stone thing, and then I brought up the logo, the icon.
Hey,
I know who that is.
It's good to see you, Clay. And so now we do that live, and I just record the log file,
right,
so that we're both interacting, and then I kind of narrate it afterwards because then I can correct anything or narrate it or whatever. And the main thing is I just think that's a little better because we played for 3.5, 4 hours, and you'd have to be pretty diehard to listen to us. And then usually Jeff from Hex to Hex joins us on Hangouts or whatever, and we're just sitting there. A lot of times we're just yakking about. Well, you know how that goes. You end up talking more than gaming sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know Jeff, and Jeff's a chatterbox too, because I know that we did his. Oh, we were playing EFS 2 weeks ago, and we basically finished playing. I think we stayed live for quite a while, not playing, and then I decided to end the session. I don't think we stayed on for another hour after that, so it ended up being this marathon 3-hour session. Jeff can talk. It's good. He has good things to say, but he can talk.
Yeah.
So they want to link to your store, dude. You need to.
Do you do that in the private chat or what?
Yeah. Why don't you pop me in a private chat, and then I'll kind of paste it up.
Let me go grab the official one because it's got like it's got all the secure link stuff in there.
Sure.
Now the web page blows, but I do have an eBay store and an Amazon store too, and then you can always call the store direct. We get a lot of guys; they'll just call an order or whatever, and we carry a lot of stuff that's not even online yet. I have a really good manager now. His name, ironically, is Jeff, and he is really good at finding products that people are looking for. I was kind of a little slower on bringing stuff in. I'm not a big change guy. I mean, if you want to give me $1 million, I like that change. But
yeah, exactly, right. Well, and not to get too technical about it, but do you use like a Shopify store or anything like that?
We have a Shopify store, but we got a new point of sale for the store because and it's a great thing. It's just we got so busy. I was using QuickBooks, and now we had to type in all the orders by hand. Now we have a scanner and a point of sale, but with that point of sale, they have a really good web hosting thing. So we don't want to put a bunch of money into the Shopify one if we're going to move it.
Right, got it.
And the reason we'll move it is because then if somebody buys something on Amazon or the website or comes into our store, all the inventory will be tied together, and it'll remove it so that we don't oversell.
Right. What's your point of sale that you're using for that? What's that?
It's called Lightspeed.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, anyway, so off commercial endeavors and back to the war game.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
with the channel, what do you want to do with it? Like, are you going to keep doing Vassal, or what's the deal?
Well, so I'm working on my basement, but my son has graduated Marine. He hasn't graduated yet, but he officially became a Marine last Thursday when he got done with the Crucible.
Yeah, congratulations.
We were told we wouldn't get to go to graduation, but 3 weeks ago they opened it up to 2 people per recruit. So everything in our life changed to gear towards going there mid-May. So we're working on the basement because I'm going to use his old room and convert that to a studio, because if you see behind me, you just got the living room. And when I get that done, I want to have a table dedicated to tabletop gaming, Hex Encounter. Once in a while, I might do like some miniature stuff, but I probably won't do like full battles. And then I still want to do Vassal because I do like the convenience of Vassal.
Yep.
And if it's a long game, like obviously Clay and I are doing Walk Them Rhine. Jeff and I are starting. We're going to go through all the Death Valley scenarios and record those on Vassal and put them up. Some of those can be left up for a long time, and so that's one thing I like about Vassal is being able to
no teardown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want to set that up, and then I want to work on that. I guess I just want to grow it, and if it turns into something that monetizes someday, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, one day I'll sell the store. I don't want to run the store forever. It's a lot of work, and I have good crew right now. So honestly, I haven't had to work that hard for a while. But for a long time, it was me every day.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get started in retail, right?
Yeah. And just a comment here. A lot of times when I've been on these, it looks way different on the other side, and I'm always making all my comments, and I'm like, why aren't they talking about my awesome comment? Well, now that I'm talking to you and we're actually talking, it's really hard to keep up with all the stuff going on. So,
yeah, there's a lot going on, and in my streams, it tends to be the same handful of jackasses that turn up, so they all know each other and they all get after it. And I think most of the time, it's an excuse for them to get together and hang out, and they really don't care what I have to say, and then probably B, not very much about what anyone else has to say either. So, but they're all good guys. So,
anyway, I have a lot of fun when I'm on there chatting. So sometimes it turns into a secondary event, right? You're there chatting more.
Yeah, exactly, and that's goodness, right? I find that when I live stream a game. I'm trying to work out the rules, and you're trying to make it entertaining, but play the game.
Yeah.
And I'm on my phone when I'm recording, so I'll stop and I'll flick up and look at all the comments. And it'll be 30 comments, right, that I've missed because they're just getting after it. So I just let them do their thing.
Yeah, I know Jeff at Hex to Hex does a lot of streaming, and I'd like to do that sometime, but I haven't tried it yet, and one of the things is I'd probably just end up sitting there visiting for 2 hours, not getting any gaming done,
Right. Exactly. That's awesome, though.
Not sure what info I'm filled with, but thanks.
This is funny. Now, John's a troublemaker, right? I don't know if you know Longshore, but he's a troublemaker.
I've gotten to know him on here. I don't know him personally, but I see him at most stuff I'm on. So I usually try to say hi to him if I see him.
Yeah. So with the studio, when you're going to set it up downstairs, so there'll be more physical gaming and all that sort of good stuff.
Yep.
So are you going all in with the lighting, and are you gonna get all the? Because I've seen some of the guys here. I know Tony. I think I saw him here earlier, but you know,
wardrobe. He has special lighting.
Oh yeah. He's got the PC set up and cabling everywhere and lights and cameras, and it's amazing.
That would be the goal. That would be what I'd want to do. I don't know if I would. I think it'd be something like, for me, I kind of have to do stuff over and over. So I think I just start out with some general stuff, try to get decent lighting. And then as I do it, see what works and doesn't work, and then just grow it. I don't know how, I'd like to have, I see lots of different things, like Jeff at Hex to Hex. I kind of like his setup where he's got, a camera up and you can look down. But then I also would like to get some zoom in shots at the table so people can see. I mean, my favorite guy to watch, who I just think, man, there's no way I'll ever get to that level, is Stuka Joe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His production quality is like, geez, dude, could you just dial her down a notch so the rest of us don't look like clowns? It's like, geez. But he's always got special counters he makes and markers, and he's got the narrow, and then he's got like a radio voice on top of it. So
I know he's got it. He's as he said, a face for radio, but he's certainly got the voice for it, right?
Yeah.
So he's got an amazing tone to him. He's very soothing to listen to.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. It's kind of little creepy to think that we do them, but I think we do.
Yeah, he's kind of the I think of him as, if I don't want to have to think about anything or work too hard, he's the easy listening video. I can turn on a Super Joe video, sit back, and it's got all the fades, and it's got this and the beautiful imagery, and the story comes out, and he just does such a great job of it. It's really good.
He does. Yep. But yeah, I like watching everyone's videos and seeing the style they do, and then thinking about that. I got a different idea. I'm going to try down the road. I was doing it because of Instagram when I first started, before I had the YouTube channel. I was playing a physical game of Avalon Hill's Devil's Den. I don't know if you remember that game.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful map, and each regiment was like 5 counters. And what I was doing is I was doing 1-minute game videos. So I would do my turn, and then I'd zoom in with like kind of just a summary of what happened. And the reason it turned into 1 minute is because Instagram, I didn't know, was cropping my videos to a minute. So my first one I put up was like 5 minutes, and they cropped it after a minute. So then I thought, well, I got to do 1 minute videos. And I had like more hits on that on Instagram than anything I've ever done. So, I'm going to bring that back.
It's funny. I've looked at all the stats over like 10 years of video, and I think on average, people's level of interest and engagement is about 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you can do something that's concise and tight in that period of time and make it interesting, it's got to be relevant, right? You can put 5 minutes of crap up and no one's going to watch it. But I think if you do that, that's a great way to capture people's attention, and that builds a bit of an audience. Then people will come back, and then eventually they'll start watching longer videos if you do longer videos. So I have some people that will watch all of it. I don't know why you would, but they do. So that's nice. But I think that you're onto a good idea there. You keep the vignettes shorter and snappier. So you do the play, and then it's great. I enjoy doing a quick little turn summary. I find live streaming it's really hard. Like I'm freaking tired after if I play an hour of OCS with the gang, right?
Yep.
I'm done after that. That's because you're talking the whole time, right? Yeah. And you're trying to think through the rules and try and provide some sort of rationale for why you're doing the stupid thing you're doing at the time. So it's pretty tiring. I find it that way anyway. So.
Well, I was a DJ for a couple of years, and so the big cardinal sin, the big no-no, was dead air. Right? You're never allowed to have dead air. So sometimes I just think people watching my videos are like, this guy never shuts up. He just can't. But you got to keep talking, and sometimes it's hard to be relevant about what you're doing without just being a mumbling idiot. So I would like to learn how to edit sometime. I do want to pick some of your guys' brains some days on maybe some inexpensive or free editing software. And I do need to do some editing.
Yeah, there's some good tools around. If you really are going to do some editing, at some point you just bite the bullet and buy an app, and ideally not one that you got to subscribe to. I end up getting, and now that I'm 8 years into it, and like 10 versions, I'm using this Adobe Premiere Elements. Right, it's one of the last tools they sold that wasn't on a subscription. And so I just kept that and I use it, and I can cut a video a lot faster than there's a lot of cooler, faster, easier tools to use that are probably cheaper as well. But this crap just works for me. So we got a question here. DJ for what?
So I started out doing basically just working the soundboard during sports at a station that's no longer around. It was KQWB in Fargo. And then I did a little bit of stuff up in Mayville, Portland. I had my own morning show right out of school, and I was pretty impressed with myself till I found out after working there for 2 weeks, nobody had been paid because they were broke. and I was a rock jock, and I was spinning vinyl for Polka Party on Sundays. That was pretty brutal. So,
that's because you still have polka music up there. They haven't banned that up there yet?
Well, way up in Mayville, Portland, that's about an hour and a half north of Fargo, out in the middle of nowhere, literally. And the nice thing about polka music, though, and you had to spin vinyl, right? So you had to get the record lined up so that when you started it, it didn't have that start.
Right.
You had to get it so that was out, so you'd be queuing it up and all that. And the only good part about it is every song was about 15 minutes, so you had plenty of time to go to the bathroom, or back then I smoked, so I'd smoke a cigarette, but that was brutal, man, doing 6-8 hours of polka music on a Sunday.
I got invited to a dance in high school. I was in Michigan for a year as an exchange student. I got invited to a polka dance, and I thought, well, cultural experience, I'll go. I was supposed to be this exchange student. It's the worst 4 hours of my life. It's unbelievable.
Well, try square dancing.
Yeah, well, that's not much fun either. Yeah.
I had to go to a few of those back in the day when I was younger with relatives. So.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, so you've done a lot of different stuff, DJing and running stores, and you've had other businesses as well. So, but it's cool that you've actually kind of found your passion, haven't you? Right?
Yeah, the funny thing is, in high school, in my freshman year when I was 14, I took a business class and I did a mock hobby store because that was my dream and goal. And then, life comes down the pipe and you start making decisions to survive, and just never saw it as a possibility. And then, coming around the 40-year mark, it's like, well, here we go. Let's do it. And my wife was very supportive. Basically, she was the sugar mama. She took care of us for years, and still is, really. Well, things are growing, but it's going well. Things are growing good.
That is awesome.
I do the channel because that's my passion, and I love gaming, and it gives me an outlet where, a lot of times at the store I'm teaching games or I'm running demo games, and that's fun, but that's not gaming, right? So like when I get together and play with Jeff or Clay, we get together every other Wednesday night with those guys. That lets me game and do the thing I love doing, right? So I'm not teaching someone to play. I'm not bringing in and learning the new system so I can show all the local players. It lets me just enjoy the strategy, and then in these cases, I really love the history. So
yeah. So with GOSS, do you find that that's the best way to learn is with somebody? I know Clay's probably taught 100 people how to play. He's been awesome.
Yeah, so like I read GOSS, the rule book, probably 3-4 times before I ever played it, and I just, and this isn't necessarily who I am, but I just got bullheaded, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to learn this before I die, I'm going to figure this. To me, it was just a big puzzle, and I started watching some videos by a guy named Joey Sabin, who doesn't have his YouTube channel. I think he did the best GOSS videos out of anybody I ever know as far as instructional videos. And it helped me put together a few of the, not the combat stuff so much, but the administrative stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it started to clip. And then I don't know how I ran into Clay. I think I posted somewhere on a group or something, and I was looking for someone to play a game or teach me some of it or walk me through a few things. And Clay jumped on Vassal with me one time, and and then we kept playing. We kept trying. We started out with Hurtgen Forest, which is really the best one I think to learn with. And then, of course, Battle of the Bulge is an epic game. So I'm like, I played other Bulge games, and I was like, I want to do it in Walked Ryan because and I was just looking at like just how big it looks compared to all the other stuff I played. And I like the crunchiness. I don't think it's as hard as people think. I think it got a bad rep because in the early days, before I even came along, the rule book was so badly put together, but they're on like version 19 and they've cleaned it up well. And it's really no worse than anybody else's rule book in my opinion. So.
Well, that's good to know. I've got some of them here. I'm just, I've done what you've done. I've kind of poked at it a couple of times, but I've not made the full commitment. So I need to do that. So maybe I'll look at Hurtgen first. That might be the trick, and download the 19th version of the rule book and print it. Yeah. So.
I don't know. Maybe I got that wrong.
No, you're good. You're good. It's all good. I'm not. I'm just.
GMT. We're doing version 19 for the Great Battles of the American Civil War, but I do know they've printed a lot of versions. It might be close to 19, but I was thinking of the Great Battles because I just downloaded that the other day for Jeff and I, so I had current rules.
Well, that's cool. Well, cool. Well, so what else do folks need to know about you and your channel? And let's, we need to get some. I think we've got a few people here who. Just email Joey. There we go. I've got a few people here who know you already, so they're probably subscribed. So we need to get the word out to folks who are not.
When you watch my channel, I guess the best way to explain it is it's really just me playing games I like, but I don't want it to just be people watching me play something. I want it to be, I wouldn't say it's going to be a best practices for strategy,
right.
Because I'm a counterpuncher. So like when I wargame, usually my opening setups are horrible. My strategy is I wait and look for mistakes and then I can pounce on them. And that's how I usually win in games. By waiting for a mistake. So if my opponent plays pretty mistake-free, I'm usually in trouble. But I want my videos to be somewhat instructional, and maybe, I guess probably because I watched Joey's videos and it taught me how to play a game that's probably one of my favorite systems now. It is for World War II anyway. And I want somebody watching one of my videos to maybe be able to learn something that they're not understanding, and maybe it'll help them enjoy a game more. Like I'll give you a story. I'll give you an example of how people do stuff their whole life. So when the internet was, brand new, right? When there was none of this streaming stuff going on. I mean, I was playing a guy by email. We were playing Victory Games, the Civil War, and he was up in Alaska. So, yeah, I've been some really good. But you taught me that, Clay. The first time I played Clay, his artillery would just pound me. So that's your fault. You taught me that. But so we were playing Victory Games, the Civil War, and he was in Alaska. And for guys that are familiar with the system, you get dice difference pulses, right? So each turn, you roll a die, and if you got a 4, Kev, and I got a 7, I would have a dice difference of 3, so I could spend 3 points worth of stuff.
Yes.
And then I would get a bonus point because I won. Well, the generals all had a tactical rating. I don't think maybe it was initiative rating they called it, and they'd be anywhere from 2 to 4, right? So Robert E. Lee would be a 2. So if you activate him, it's going to use 2 of those dice difference, where a Halleck would be a 4, right? So he's going to do half as much as Robert E. Lee. In some turns, he can't even move. If it's only a dice difference of 3, he can't do anything.
You can't do it.
I'm playing this guy play by email in Alaska. And he sends me his turn file, and it was like a dice difference of 5, and he moved 5 generals. And I'm like, dude, you can't move 5 generals. You got to count their whatever. You can't. It's not 1 point per general. It's their initiative rating. So he emails me back, and he goes, this is my favorite game. I've been playing this game for 30 years. So you're trying to tell me I've been playing this wrong my whole life? I go, oh, I guess I am. And then he quit playing, and then I never heard from him on email again. But so that's the kind of thing that we can enjoy with these videos. It's a really long way of saying I can jump on here and watch, Stuka Joe, or I can watch your channel, or Hex to Hex, or whoever, and go look up a game that I maybe want to try and make sure that I'm playing it right.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. That's my favorite part.
That's one of my biggest fears too. Is you invest a bunch of time in a series. So like OCS, right? I found something the other day that I've been doing wrong for forever, right? Which is just kind of pissed me off. But it was incremental, so okay. But unlike that chap, poor guy, that's a big mistake in that game. Right? but you do that, and then because I'm a YouTuber or I write about stuff, you put it out there, and then you realize, crap, I've just gone and told everybody the wrong thing. Right, so I hate that. Like I just wrote a post today. I was about to share it, and so I thought, hang on a second, can everybody do shock attacks in Curse 1943, the GMT magazine game? Super fast and light game, right? And I kind of skim read the rules last night, set it up, started playing. They didn't really dig into it too hard. So I go back, double check. Yeah, sure enough, only shock armies and armor can use this offensive chip, which gives them a column shift. And I had gone through and done 3 attacks and used infantry and used the bonus. And so I was like, so I'd taken the pictures, I'd written it all up, I wrote down all the odds, and it was like, freaking hell. So, okay, rip that page out and delete that post and start over. So you don't want to, I hate getting things wrong. And I found I've become more cautious with my gameplay as I get more and more into this hobby, because I don't want to post up crap.
Well, and to John Longshore is talking about, I put out a Panzer Blitz video, so I better give you a little bit of a caveat there, John. Is I put that video up, and then a guy on Board Game Geek ripped apart all my mistakes. So I put it in the comments section because I'm like, I'm not replaying this, and then. So I redid it. It was some minor stuff, but it was, just stuff where if you're reading the rules too fast.
Yep. That's right.
Or if you read it with one of the problems when you play so many games that we all have is you start reading a rule and you just kind of fill in the blanks almost like, oh yeah. So like one of them was, you can pick up a passenger, or you can transport them, or you can transport them and drop them off. I just read that as you can pick them up and transport them, or you can transport them and drop them off. So I was doing that, and I got called out on stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you'll find out about that, Jeff. You'll find out about artillery. Well, Jeff knows about artillery, not just in Decision Games, Jeff. You guys are going to see a great artillery barrage in our first Death Valley game. Jeff really enjoyed that, I think. I'm sure Jeff's gonna win, so I'm gonna enjoy talking a little smack right now while I'm here.
Yeah, you may as well. So get it up. So now I just got to give a little shout out because Eric. Now I don't know if it's next week or the week after. Eric, when did we agree we were going to get you on? Eric's going to be on very soon. We've been bouncing around dates. We've actually got a full slate for the entire month of May. I've got a person every Wednesday. We'll do this same sort of format, so it'll be good fun and relaxing and good conversation. I'm just trying to see what else we got here. We got any other questions?
Wardrobe. I'm gonna have to check out, Eric. I'll check out and I'll sub you because I'm not a Napoleonic gamer just because of time or money, but I will check out your channel because the title of your channel sounds interesting, and I'd like to see what you got on there.
Yeah, he's got some really cool videos.
And then a shout out to you too, Kev. I mean, I think it's great you help us new guys get our name out there. And I was watching you do a few of these. And actually, the reason I heard about you is because of Jeff at Hex to Hex. He was going to be on. And secretly, I'll tell you this. I was pretty jealous. I'm like, why is Jeff getting on there and I can't get on there?
I didn't know who you were, man.
Yeah. So,
Now I do. Now everybody knows. All his 24. Yeah. I'm seeing. I don't know if this is the total count across Facebook and YouTube, but I'm seeing 24 people just on the YouTube channel, and this has gone out on Facebook as well. So hopefully people will do the right thing and give you a sub. And the whole idea here is want to try and get folks that are under 1,000 subs up to 1,000 subs that lets you do more things with your YouTube channel. That's one of the benchmarks, right?
Yep.
So that frees things up, allows you to do different sort of things with fundraising, allows you to do live streaming, and although I think they've changed the rules on that now, you can do it with less. But and then I think the next benchmark is 5K. But we'll get excited about getting 1,000, right? I
just broke 200, so I got a ways to go. But
yeah, well, you were 230 when I saw you last, and then so I'm hoping that you're up a little bit more after the end of that. So
yeah, I just saw Joe Yost jump on here. Joe,
there's
thanks
the name.
for the compliment. You do some of the most beautiful maps in the business, buddy. I appreciate your maps. I think they're beautiful. And see, that's one thing. I mean, there's some good games out there, but in the past, and I'm not going to rip. I don't like to rip anybody specifically, but I mean, we've all played games where either the map is just the colors are ugly, or it's just too busy.
Right.
And then, but that's one of the reasons I love GOSS is the counters got a lot of good information there, but they're not too busy.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, they just worked for me. And then the maps are beautiful. They're second to none. So
right. I feel like
thanks, Kilroy.
I feel like the maps are almost sort of military style maps, but they're engaging and usable as well, right?
Yeah. That's the big part is that, and I've seen some really pretty maps, but if they get too busy, it gets too busy and you can't do it. So.
African dog.
I agree. Did you see that, Joe? We want East Front. We want East Front GOSS.
There you go. That'd be awesome.
At the company level.
Oh, there we go. I didn't know that. So Mr. Simonich let him apprentice.
Really? Nice.
There's a little bit of gaming history right there. It's very cool.
Love it. Love that stuff.
Well, I tell you what. We're right up on the 45-minute mark, and I don't want to grind us into a dull ending. So we'll keep it on an up note. And I appreciate you being on, Steve. And I hope everyone enjoyed the chat. And everyone tune in next week. We'll have our next guest, and we'll keep at it. And hopefully, we'll see lots more of you in your new studio. I'm excited.
Thanks. I'm going to go a little bit later. I'll go back and look at all the chat and see who's on there and make sure and sub anybody else too. So
good man. Love it.
Thanks
all right,
again.
everybody. We'll let you guys go. See ya.
Okay, bye.